Welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Life. I am Precious Chukudi. We begin with the front pages of the papers this morning. Starting off with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with petrol price hike, insensitive. PDP, LP tells APC presidency. Rider says APC provoking Nigerians with 617 naira per litre of fuel price hike, and that's coming from PDP. We warned against dummies sold by APC. That's coming from Labour Party. PDP, Labour Party also promise to remove subsidy, and that's come from APC. Reps reject call for suspension of new price to investigate incessant hikes in fuel price. Our position on subsidy stands, and that's come from Presidency. Tinubu, Shetima, Akpabio, governors meet on distribution of palliatives. Federal government will raise workers' pay, and that's coming from Akpabio. On page 9, I didn't speak with Tinubu judges handling Obi Atiku's petition. That's come from CJN. Subsidy removal. Lecturers in colleges of education to go to work twice weekly. Equating Niger Delta amnesty program to northern bandits is criminal, and that's coming from Clark. Rep confirms appointment of service chiefs. Stories above. 72 billion naira judgment debt. EcoBank files appeal. EMEFIELE. Lawyers tackle DSS over charge and bail tweet as EMEFIELE asks court to grant him bail. Plateau troops seize 1,000 cows grazing community farmlands. Ganduje Almakura battle for APC chairmanship. Reps suspend concession of airports. And we can also see a photo story showing First Lady meets female legislators, as well as Obi visits Move Twang. And lastly, on the front page of Vanguard, we have Toby Amuson suspended for 3 whereabouts failure. All right, let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with 1.959 trillion naira allocation windfall for federal government, state councils. The writer says monthly federation account inflow jumps by 148.4% following petrol subsidy termination. How court granted 72.2 billion naira damages against EcoBank in favor of Honeywell. Stories above Tinubu Akpabio governors strategize over palliatives. Adeleke swears in lawyer as health commissioner. UTME result forgery. Mesoma begs jam. And lastly on the front page of The Nation, expert projects firm up of Naira in 6 months. Foreign reserve likely to hit $60 billion by December. Let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with banks firm in currency risk, capital erosion crisis as dollar hits 850 naira. And on page 7, we have Senate urges a relaxation of age requirements for job. Palan of PDP slam federal government NNPCL over fuel price hike. Northern leaders wrong to ask amnesty for bandits, terrorists, says Clark. Subsidy remover. Koisu directs members to work twice a week. Stories above. Hurdles for Super Falcons as World Cup begins. And lastly, on the front page of The Guardian, 3 persons killed in fresh Plateau attack. All right, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with fuel price hike, business operators panic, fear shutdown, job losses. Rider says hike to worsen manufacturers' woes. Many SMEs will die. Man, LCCI laments. NLC considers emergency meeting. PDP slams the federal government as rep summons NMPCL boss. Soldiers arrest Beninese one other with truckload of cannabis. On page 7, Miss Homer appears before rep panel begs jam. Train attack, court okay secret trial of Boko Haram negotiator. Stories above. Questions, anxiety as Tinubu drags feet on appointment of ministers. NNPCL monopoly ends as marketers' fuel vessel arrive. And lastly, on the front page of the Punch, renowned Nigerian writer Kole Omotosho dies at 80. And that's all we can take on the front pages of the papers this morning. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining still today in the news on Vanguard Live, I am Precious Chukudi. Joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front pages of the papers this morning, Mr. Oludari Mayowa, and he is the publisher of Global Financial Digest. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me today.
All right, let's delve into what we have this morning, and of course, following the increment of the pump price, opposition parties have rejected the hike and described it as an act of provocation by the ruling party. Also, human rights lawyer Femi Falana, has asked the NNPCL has asked that NNPCL should be restrained from further fixing the prices of petrol in the country. How do you respond to these increments?
Thank you very much. First of all, the increment. First, let me look at it from this perspective. The moment Nigerians accepted that the government should deregulate, should remove subsidy on fuel consumption locally, then we should equally be expecting that the price can go anywhere, that's south or north. And for me, what is happened today is the result of the acceptance. When we are only accepted that government should remove the subsidy, uh, we are already giving the government a blank check to say, hey, the price can go any south or north, and exactly the repercussion of that decision. And unfortunately, Nigerians are feeling the pain because of the impact of such consumption. The argument already been that only the elite enjoy the subsidy, the poor people are not affected, and that all the kind of difference. Now we are facing the reality of the consequence of our action of the removal of the subsidy. And if with a full blow, it could go to 1,000 per liters, as long as the price of the crude oil in the national market is not stable. As far as you having exchange rates, for example, naira to dollar exchange rate has gone to 1,000 this morning. So these are going to have implication on the price of pump price of oil or fuel in Nigeria going forward. So these are the parameters that used to judge the pricing. Why we cannot blame the NFPs or the importers of adjusting their rate based on the landing cost, but we need to interrogate how they arrive at those costs, how they arrive at the present cost. Because if you are importing and the cost at the port, the clearance and the rest, the bidding to rate, we need to examine the cost impact, the cost process to help us to arrive at the realistic cost of fuel. But like I said, it's a product of the regulation. Once we deregulate, you are saying no, let the market force determine it. And the market force is at play right now. What we are seeing is that as long as the price of crude oil is going up, as far as the exchange rate is going, is the naira is depreciating, we're going to have the impact on the cost.
Of course, we know that the standard of living of people would definitely nosedive as a result of this, increment and all of that. And also, but one of the things that we're having troubles with is as regards the intervention funds, like palliatives. At first the government came out to say, okay, 8,000 naira, and all of a sudden, when this increment came in, they said they were going to review the 8,000 naira. I don't know how exactly the president wants to review this, but looking at the situation on ground, because when we first started to talk about the removal of fuel subsidy, one of the conversations that we've been having is the fact that the president or the government did not even put down palliatives. Like, palliatives should have been put down in the first place before talks on removal should have started, or even increments in pump price. What's your take?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think earlier in this program, so I think we have mentioned that the 8,000 naira palliatives is a scam, and thank God, and it's coming to pass right now that governments have to review it, because our experience with the palliative for such conditional cash transfer has been in a failure and has got to wrong pockets. I think the failure, the handling of removal of fuel subsidy by this government has exposed the underbelly of the government, what actually their capacity to think right on the right direction, on point policy flip flop. You send a bid to a request to the National Assembly to approve a palliative, and after they have approved it, you are saying you are reviewing it. It shows that there's no deep thought into their policy formulation, and it's very worrisome. to me as a person. And I think what government actually need to have done before prior to removing the subsidy is to have looked at it. What are the environmental impact? What are going to be the consequence of this on the masses? I'm not they have not done all those assessment first before they just yank the subsidy out and throw the masses under the truck. What is what is going to be our impact, and how can we ameliorate this impact on the populace? Because as it is today, if care is not taken, we are going to have a massive research on massive protests across the nation, because people are being hit. The transportation to work, I mean, movement of people are going to be restrained because the cost of transportation has already shot up, and salary has not moved an inch. People are already, I mean, suffering for high soaring inflations, and we are bringing on top of those things. It's going to cause a major crisis in the system unless government take urgent step to actually say, hey, can we mobilize mass transport system into the cities, into the villages, so that we can reduce the impact on the people? Can we do something, I mean, urgently, to arrest the situation? Otherwise, it can go out of hand for the government that we cannot be able to handle the crisis that will follow this or what we have done today, unless they move urgently to address the lacunas and the lapses in their policy making. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm seeing today, because we don't do a policy without looking at the other assessment parameter, effect on the masses, and what the mitigating impact, what the mitigating policy or resources you are going to deploy to reduce the impact on the people. We are not going to do that. But up to now, after a month of reducing, I mean, over a month of claiming removing the fuel subsidy, we are finding ourselves in a cul-de-sac. That's unfortunate for the government.
Whenever we have things about maybe palliatives that are supposed to be disbursed and all of that, one of the challenges that we've always had is issues on corruption, mismanagement of these funds. I remember during the COVID palliative, there was a lawmaker that was accused of even sharing some of these items, to her friends during her party, and just juxtaposing that situation to even the 8,000 naira palliatives. How are we sure that the poorest of the poor would actually get the palliatives?
Unfortunately, we have not gotten right in this part of the world. In another realm, they do that. During the COVID, for example, in the US, they carry food to people's doorstep. It was because they have data registered that support the process of distribution of this palliative. But here in Nigeria, we don't have such data here. We don't have such register here, reliable data here. What government should have done is to look at the area of impact. For example, fuel subsidy removal will impact transportation, and government should have thought of, okay, how can we mobilize transport system, a service system that could reduce the pressure on people who are going to work, buy more buses, fortify the existing structure, have an agreement with the transport companies and farm individuals in a way that transport system will not go up astronomically, that will hurt the economy. These are areas the government need to look at. Then look at the area of food supply, food security, because automatically the price of food will go up in tandem with the increase in fuel. Government should have looked at those things, area of mobilizing food into cities, into places where they are needed, and ensure that the price of food are moderated in such a way by collaborating with the farmers and the commercial farmers across the country, and mobilize enough food into the city so that we can reduce the impact. If government is going to do this without sharing money, transferring money to people, will not solve the problem. Number one, 8,000 naira is not enough to do anything. Or even the families, the so-called family they are trying to transfer the money to. Not talk of the embedded corruption that the official in charge of this thing will have taken the money. I mean, somebody was narrating on TV yesterday that in Borno, for example, when they said they are transferring the money, they were openly giving people 20,000 naira as a transfer money cash in the Borno, Maiduguri. And behind the scenes, they are going out of the camera scene. They are collecting more than half of the money back from these people. These are the corruption that is embedded in the system. And government can eliminate all this corruption by deploying this money set aside for palliative into area of need of the people. That's the only effective way we can actually impact the common people. Otherwise, we'll just be throwing pouring water in the basket, and will not amount to anything.
All right. Also, experts in the oil and gas sector have, warned the federal government against making the country a dumping ground for imported petrol. And this is coming from, reports that European oil dealers have positioned themselves to flood the local markets with with the product. How do you react to this?
Of when you find ourselves in the wrong side of the global economy. Ordinarily, we have 4 federal government owned refineries. None of these 4 refineries are working. If we have been able to put our refineries in order, because we are all producing nation, we are able to refine it locally. There won't be any need for us to depend on the foreign importation, because these are things that added to the cost. But when you talk about the exchange rate, the importer has to look for dollars to buy this product at a higher rate, and the freight cost is charged in dollars as well. So they have to look for this money. All these are added up. But if we are refining this oil locally, we are able to cut off all the costs of foreign exchange, cost of freight, and cost of custom duties, tariff, and the rest of it, and be able to get to a reasonable cost that could be suitable for the local market. But unfortunately, we have found ourselves in such a way that we have not done that. What government should do, rehabilitate our refineries and ensure that we have local refining capacity locally, so that we can be able to supply the need of the people, and we're able to cut away the cost of procuring foreign exchange to import, foreign exchange to pay for the freight, foreign exchange to pay for the duties and the rest. And we're able to get a reasonable cost here. And of course, we have made so much noise about Dangote refineries. Well, that is not materialized today because the plant was commissioned but was not ready for production. And that's what we are seeing today. And even when the Dangote refinery is ready for production and is trying to supply the local market, is a businessman. He's going to recoup his money. And how do we recoup his money? By selling at the market price, so to say. But what we are able to eliminate from that is that we're not going to pay for the ship or the freight. We're not going to pay for the custom and the rest. So we are going to eliminate some element of costing in pricing locally, and we're going to reduce the price really. But how soon it's going to happen, we don't know, because we don't know when Dangote refinery is going to come to stream. But what government should do is to accelerate the revamping of Port Harcourt refineries and do something about Cardinal refinery, Warri refineries, and all those refineries, so that we can have a sort of relief in a costing process in the country.
All right, moving on, the leadership of the College of Education Academics Union, COASU rather, has directed its members to go to work only twice a week until federal government yields to its demand of a 200% salary increase. What's your take, and what are the implications for the educational sector?
It's like, no, we have to look at the overall implication for the economy entirely. I was with a senior friend of mine who runs an insurance company last week. Already arranged that his staff will have to retain their coming to office because of cost of transport. Some of them comes to office 3 times in a week. Some come 2 times in a week. They to coming because he want to reduce the impact, because he cannot increase their salary now because of the cost on the business. And there are many businesses like that too, that they cannot increase salary now because of implication to their cost, because they are not generating enough resources to do that. But they have to rationalize how many times people come to office. People like us are going to office now probably twice in a week and are working remotely, because the enormous cost on the business is very huge. So I agree with those people. Yes, all these are going to have implication on productivities, on the outputs, on and how for example, if the children are coming to school 3 times in a day or 2 times in a week, it's going to have the quality of teaching, quality of education they are giving to the people. I'm going to have implication on the quality of graduates we are producing, and going to go to a workplace and all like that. So it's going to have implication on the economy entirely, and the economy generally suffer for it at the end of the day. So that's why that is the reason the government need to urgently do something to ameliorate the impact on the economy. Otherwise, we will go from fire pan to fire.
Hmm. All right, moving on. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, has denied the allegation that he had a telephone conversation with the president over a petition seeking to nullify the outcome of the 2023 presidential elections. What are your thoughts?
Um, Personally, I did not believe that story. The reason is that you don't have to have phone conversation. They could have just met anywhere. Could have, if you can even summon the man to his work and ask as an officiality and as a closed door meeting with him. If you need anything from him, or could have sent somebody else to him directly in a way. Phone telephone can be tracked, can be tracked, can be obtained. That can so, but it speaks to the fact that we don't trust our institutions in this country. And we don't trust them because of the past experience, what this one country has gone through. So these are the things, those are the picture of what we are seeing today. People don't trust the judiciary, we don't trust the government, we don't trust the government institutions and NDAs to do their thing, and that play out during the jam and the school girl that forged UTME result because people don't trust them because they have been hurt in time past by the institutions. So their response to that incident was based on their experience with them. And that's what we are again, what we are seeing. Judiciary is very known to be very corrupt in this country. So people are actually basing their speculations, their whatever the rumor, the fake news are flying around based on past experience are dealing with this institution. And that's a need that call for a reform in those sectors of the economy that will rebuild trust in some of these institutions because judiciary is very key to survival of democracy in this country. And if people cannot trust them, then the democracy is in danger.
Hmm. All right, let's touch on Mr. and Mrs. before we go. And Mr. is speaking now says, now that Junior wears the same size with me, I can hardly find my boxers in the house. What kind of rubbish is this? And Mrs. reply says, those who believe the young shall grow don't behave this way.
Then that's a knockout for the man. Say, okay, when you know your children have to wear your shoe and you can wear put their leg into it. And you can add the mother self, the guys child wore their mommy's shoe, immediately they can size them and they play around with it. So why is the man complaining anyway? It was a good play of words around.
All
And they
right.
could come into end.
Hmm. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Oludari Mayowa, Publisher Global Financial Digest. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us this morning.
Thanks for having me today and have a lovely day.
Also, remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. To find out up-to-date stories, go to our website www.vanguardindia.com to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi, and thank you for watching.